Hi there. How are you tonight? Are you good? I hope so. I hope you're ready for the holidays because they're coming really quick. But I just want to talk to you a little bit tonight. And I'm Dr. Felicia Ferrara, in case you're not familiar with me, but I am doing a series of little videos for communication. And in this particular series, I would like to talk about the Johari Window. And what we're going to talk about is how you can open your own window to a point where you can socialize more, interact with others more, and basically it helps to build positive relations, whether it's your significant other or whether it's a coworker or even your children, from children to parents. You want to be able to be open enough to let people in so that they can converse with you more and you feel better about yourself, okay? All right, so let's take a look at the Johari window. Here we go. You ready? Hold on. Oh, gotta share the window. Let's share the screen. All right. I do have a window, and I'm going to show you the slideshow, and we're going to take a look. Here we go. Ready? Here we go. The Johari Window. Have you ever heard of that? It's a concept of a model of awareness, self-awareness, so that you can see how you interact within the rest of the world. All right? It was developed way back in 1955. Don't forget, psychology just started in about the 50s. So, this is still a relatively novice science. Rather than hard science like medical science, with something is either broken or it's not. This is considered a soft science. This is psychology. And so a lot of theories rose up in the 50s about different aspects of psychology. This happens to be one very tiny little aspect relating to ourself and our self-awareness. This is developed by Joseph Loft and Harry Ingram. They put the first names together, Joe, Harry, and that's how they got the Harry Window, California, Los Angeles. Okay, now the quadrants. What are the quadrants of the Johari Window? There's 4 of them. First is a part of us that is open to ourselves and to others. I know I'm doing it and you know I'm doing it, okay? So what happens is you're self-aware and others are aware. So that would be something like if I'm home scratching my head all the time, okay? I know I'm doing it, but other people see it as well. So they say, gee, you have a nervous tick. Why are you still scratching your head so much? And you think to yourself, oh gosh, how did they see that? So what you need to be aware of if you're open to self and others, and this is usually a very small part of ourselves. This is what we present when we're out in the store. I'm picking up medicine at a pharmacy. Hi, how are you? You say to the pharmacist. Or if you're just meeting somebody for the first time, hi, how are you? And I basically don't really talk about myself in depth, and I don't start describing my flaws or my inner secrets because I'm still at a formal pace with this person. So I go slow. And most of us do that. That's how you might act in school, except with your very close circle of friends who you giggle or you get together with or interact with or go out and socialize with. So any of those. So the first quadrant is open to ourselves and others, okay? The second quadrant is a little different. The second quadrant is that blind to myself, but open to others. So I am not aware I'm doing it, but other people see it. Like, let's say somebody bites their lips all the time. Okay, you're biting your lip while you're talking. I'm not even aware of doing it, but somebody else is seeing it and observing it and say, hey, what are you doing that for? Stop biting your lip. We're going, what? What? I didn't know I was doing that. And so those are things that we need to look for. In once in a while they come to the surface because somebody's honest enough to tell us. Most people aren't going to risk offending us and tell us so. All 4 quadrants are present. So this is what we kind of go through in our mind. And for instance, the first quadrant is open to myself and to others. Everybody sees it. I'm aware of it. We're all hokey pokey. So what could that be? I'm aware that I'm tapping my finger Other people can see it. They're aware that I'm tapping my finger. Maybe it's something like I'm gulping my drink. Other people see me drunk gulping my drink, okay? So we're all aware of it and we're doing it. And maybe I'm overly friendly. Maybe it's like, hey, how are you? You know, and the person backs off like, whoa, don't get too close, especially now in COVID. But those are things, those are concepts about how we act in the open world. This particular quadrant, number one, gets larger as we become more familiar with the person. A lot of this opens as we get to know people in a more familiar manner, okay? What's second to that, the next quadrant is blind to myself only, and other people are unaware to themselves, but other people are aware of it. Other people are aware that we're doing it. So therefore, it is all something that we're not even aware of. And again, what would that be? Maybe I'm biting my lip. I'm biting it, not aware that I'm doing it, but other people can see it. Maybe I am tripping while I walk. Maybe I drank too much and I'm a little tippy. I'm not aware of it, but the other people can certainly see it. Okay, maybe I'm slurring my words because I drank too much. Other people can certainly see it, but I don't know if you ever met a drunk that said, oh, hey, wait, I'm drunk. No, nobody ever says they're drunk. So when somebody says things to you like that, outsiders, you want to pay attention because they're usually right. And then in our third quadrant, these are things that are unknown by others, but we know ourselves. So let's say I sneak out every night and I go back to a bar. Then I know I'm doing that, but other people don't know I'm doing that. How about if I skip meals because I don't want to get fat? Or how about if I am bulimic and I'm getting myself sick, but I don't let other people see that? Those are things that we kind of hide beneath the surface and don't let other people know about it, okay? And if I was to put it in popular terms or modern day terms, that would be something like, I don't know if you saw the TV show Dexter, where he actually plays the role of a crime analysis employee who works for the police department, but he goes out at night and he searches down the perpetrator of the crime, and then he does to them exactly what that perpetrator did to the victims. So in his mind, he's doing something good because he's avenging the victims, but in reality, he's murdering somebody. So other people don't know it. Everybody works with him and thinks he's just the guy that does the criminal analysis. Okay, so much for that. Watch those coworkers. Okay, and what's the fourth quadrant right here? Fourth quadrant. It's unknown to everybody. So we all have different habits that we're not aware of and that we never let anybody see. So they're hidden so deep in ourselves that we just don't let anybody know. What could that be? I don't know. You think of what it is that you might be unknown to yourself and unknown by others. So maybe I sleep in my, walk in my sleep. Maybe I walk in my sleep. That's a sleepwalker, and I never told anybody, and I'm not even aware of it because I'm in my sleep. But I wake up feeling tired every morning. So, gee, I must have went somewhere. Where could that be? So you see, we all have these different traits. Some are on the surface, some are unaware to us, and some are unaware to everyone, including us. So others as well. But, you know, most of us don't realize how much we need to take a look at that. And here's what happens to the Johari window over time. As we get to know people, this window opens wider and wider, and we get to know them. Look, when we get to know them, we'd never do this with a stranger, would we? Go to the top of a mountain and hang out and cheer? No way. But over time, as you get to know somebody, this window widens, this first window. And it's things I know and you know, and that's what we do. Those are usually our best friend activities, our partner, and people that we're really close to will get to see this big window of us. So there's very little hidden anymore, right? See this window shrank? This window is still here though. So we do have this. And So let's see what happens as we progress. How about this other part of us, the part that we are scared and closed off to others? We don't tell them about it. Close the open area when we're scared. But see, this window goes up and down all the time when we're interacting with people. So if all of a sudden you're walking down the street and you're open and you're talking and talkative, and all of a sudden you hear footsteps behind you and you start to get scared, what happens? You get this green monster comes out, and he looks very scary and intimidating. So others don't see it, but you know you're scared. So let's say I'm on a date. I'm going to be really quiet about it, but I'm inside. I'm very nauseous and I'm afraid because I haven't been on a date in a while. So the person who does that gets anxious and more scared. And as they get scared, they close down this window. The open window closes now. So others do not see it, what it is that's going on inside you, but you know you're scared. Okay, so you know it. All right, so how about here? This bigger part that is the unknown even gets bigger. So now there's more unknown about you that the person you're with needs to discover. Okay, others see your actions, but you may not be aware of this part of it. So this part, this is where perhaps you have your own flaws and you're in denial. What would be in denial? Okay, certainly substance abuse, alcohol abuse, substances, and maybe bad habits like anger. Maybe you have fits of anger at home, but you don't let anybody on the outside see that. Okay, you may not be aware of how bad it is, but others can see that and obviously wouldn't like it. So others see your actions, but you are not aware of them. So it could be how you lose your temper, could be your drinking or your drug use, sexual promiscuity. Maybe they're saying, hey, back off, you shouldn't be with so many people. And yet you do it anyway because you're in denial. You're not aware. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, that's ridiculous. I haven't been with a lot of people. And so you're in denial to yourself. So that's something you want to watch, because if you have, we'll talk about it later. Now, what is emotional EQ? EQ is like an IQ. IQ is for intellectual quotient. EQ is your emotional quotient. Did you know we had one? An emotional quotient. Okay, how balanced is your emotion? How good do you know yourself? How well do you understand yourself? This is important because look what happens when we're children. We don't need to know you too well. We run to each other. How many times you see little toddlers, 2, 3 years old, they just run up and grab each other and hug, and they're so excited to see each other. It's just pure love and pure openness when you're little. We only get guarded as we get a little bit older. We get a little bit more guarded. And so how well are you going to let yourself be known by other people? So it's a little more hard or difficult to get into a stance with others when you're, as you grow. You look for many different qualities. Okay, what is emotional EQ? Okay, so emotionally, are you sensitive to the other person? Do you think of other people? Do you consider their feelings? Um, in one movie, I remember seeing that the older man was telling a young boy who had a date that he was all excited about, and the old man said to him, now, he said, one way to judge if this girl's any worthwhile is if you open the door and let her in the car and then walk around to your side. If she reaches over to unlock the door and let you in, then you know she's sensitive and worth keeping. But if she doesn't open that lock, then you know she's going to be selfish. How about that for a test? Okay. That's as extreme, but it was in the movie. It was really cute. And the sensitivity is, did you consider the other person? Did she consider, well, let me let him in the car just as easily? So sensitivity is being aware of what the other person needs. I once had a friend in the hospital, and he was put in a medical coma, and they left him, in the hospital. It was busy, and so they left, and he just barely had the sheet on his legs, etc. And his daughter was in the room, and I went over and covered him with the sheet. And she said, how did you know he was cold? Well, how could you not be cold? You're in a hospital at 65 degrees and you're sitting there, with your legs sticking out. Of course you're cold. So you cover the person. That's a sensitivity. How about when somebody's about to cry and you're talking to them? Do you stop your yelling or screaming, or your conversation and say, hey, what's wrong? What's the matter? That's sensitivity. Okay. I challenge you all to increase your sensitivity. Be aware of elderly people out there. Be aware of the younger kids that are into maybe a hassle with each other. See if you can intervene if you can. And certainly help those around you that you see need some help. That's sensitivity. Now, empathy is something that is a matter of feeling other people's pain. So let's say your mother broke her leg. You're going to be upset because it's your mother, but are you helping her and considering that it's hard for her to get up and cook a meal tonight? Are you going to help prepare that meal? That's empathy. So empathy is where you kind of put yourself in the other person's position and you realize that, wow, this is tough. Let me help them out. Okay. Some people are born with it just naturally, and other people never develop it. So those are your hardcore people that kind of live in their own world and, just go off and do their own thing. Okay. Listening. How well do you listen to others? Because this is all part of emotional maturity. Are you listening to the other person's side of it? Are you reflecting what they say? Are you validating what they say? And that's really important part of communication and relationships. How much do you validate the other person? Okay, awareness. Are you even aware that that person's in distress? And a lot of times I've seen couples break up and, they'll get a divorce and the husband says, oh, I didn't even know we were having trouble. It's like, oh boy, how much were you paying attention? So if the other person's very unhappy, you're going to know about it. So how aware are you? It could be the other way around. It could be the wife who never knew the husband was unhappy. So how much do you live in your own world and how well do you understand others? Because in order to have a positive, healthy relationship, you need to have a balanced emotional IQ as well as, being a giving and loving person. Okay. Now, not everybody had the same advantage, and not everybody's going to have a family that fosters this in us. If you're lucky, you had parents that showed you how to care for others and did that by setting an example and modeling for you what caring for others meant. Some of us not so lucky. So you have to kind of pace yourself to wherever you're at. It's okay. The idea is that you're working forward. It doesn't matter where you start. It matters that you're working along the way, okay, to improve it. Relating to self. Oh my God, this is a tough one. And relating to others. Relating to self. What do you mean relating to me? Of course I know me. Do you know yourself? Do you really know yourself? Maybe not. Maybe you need to get a better check on that. And how are you self-aware of your own needs for yourself? What makes you cry? How do you act when you're stressed? Do you go in a corner and cringe? Do you become very quiet if your feelings are hurt? Or do you confront the other person and come out aggressively and a big fight starts, a big confrontation starts? How about boundary setting? That's a big one. Do you let other people walk all over you, or are you aggressive and do you batter other people? We don't want any of that. So those are boundary setting that you need to have a good sense of where your boundaries are before you even enter a relationship. Because if not, you can get easily turned around, okay? And you don't want to do that. How about hobbies and interests? Do you have any hobbies and interests? Or are you waiting for the other person to entertain you all the time? So those are things that you need to be aware of, and hopefully you're indulging in some hobbies. Maybe it's artwork, maybe it's building, maybe it's construction, maybe it's carpentry, maybe it's woodworking, maybe it's restoring cars, maybe it's singing, music. Whatever your hobbies and interests are, those are what make you a more dynamic person. They give you depth, they give you interests, and you have something to bring to the table when you do get into a relationship. And finally, do you know your personal traits? Now, none of us know all of our personal traits, and sometimes we don't know them until we're faced with an actual event. And if we haven't been faced with an actual event, we will not necessarily worry about it. So let's take a look and see what we need to do for the other person. How do we relate to others? Do we even desire to socialize? Do you even want to meet anybody else? Are you going out where you can meet people? Are you interacting on some level? Now, you don't have to be a party animal and go out every night. Of course not. But do you even want to meet new people? That's the first thing. You have to identify the problem in order to fix it. So if you desire to go to socialize, then you will. Are you engaging with other people? Do you actually welcome them? Do you extend your hand and say, hey, welcome, I'm so glad to see you. How are you? I was worried about you. Or, hey, I heard about your marriage or your girlfriend. Sorry to hear whatever happened. Are you welcoming? Do you offer them more friendship? Do you say, hey, let's meet up again. Let's go have a dinner this week or something like that, so that you're actually welcoming them into your life as well. Everybody's got their boundaries. Everybody's got their part where they're, oh, gee, he looks so reserved. I better not approach him. It's intimidating to go to somebody who's sitting off in a corner by themselves. Not everybody has that confidence. But if you do, you can convey warmth. Do you convey warmth? Do you let people know you care? It can be something as simple as, oh, here, sit down in this chair, or here, let me get you a drink, or, gee, I'm sorry to hear about your relatives, so and so, what happened? And that's conveying warmth. That's a giving, a caring approach. And are you open? That's the final thing, to others. Can you be open to relating to others? If you go to, let's say, a church service on a Sunday and you come out, do you stop and have the coffee or the welcoming committee? Do you talk to other parishioners or church members, whatever you may refer to? And do you actually be open and engage with them? Those are all things that need to be looked at. Okay, how to build these positive qualities. That's the next step. Let's say you looked at it, you talked about yourself, you analyze yourself, say, yeah, I think I need some help. I think I need some help in getting out of here and socializing more. And I think after COVID, everybody's going to need some help because everybody's been home for so long, or maybe not. Maybe we'll all run out and have one big party. So in any case, let's take a look at how we can build more positive relationships. Okay, you ready? All right. Force yourself out of the comfort zone. What's your comfort zone? Your comfort zone is where you're so content to be in your chair watching TV at night that you don't do anything else. You don't look to do anything else. You don't inspire yourself to leave. You don't look for activities in your community. And there's no excuse for that today because we have meetup groups for all ages. You can easily find them on the internet, and you look for meetup groups. You put in your zip code and you put in a keyword for whatever it is you want, if it's art, if it's photography, if it's cars, all of that. So meeting other people is not as hard as you think. So you force yourself out of your comfort zone. Okay, you're not going to go from being home every night to jumping out partying every night. That's a no-no, because nobody's going to go that fast from A to Z. You really need to take your time. You need to make an effort at least every day, if not every week. And you need to do this if you were going to do it with a therapist, as far as increasing, if you want to increase your social life, you need to make the effort every day or every week to do something. So let's say you're a recluse and you've been home for a long time. It might be an effort just to go to the mailbox. Maybe you need to go to the mailbox. So start there and then give yourself a task. Well, I'm going to go to the grocery store. I'm going to go make sure I greet 3 people while I'm at the grocery store. And if you smile and you're gracious to the clerks, they're usually smiling and gracious to you too. Same thing with other people in the aisle. So if you're not going out making a crabby look, then you're probably going to be accepted. Okay. Okay, start with something easy. What's non-threatening to you, whatever that may be. Maybe just to walk around your house. Maybe just to walk your dog. But get yourself out of the house and get out where you're going to see other people. Bring the dog to the dog park. You meet other people there. Start with something easy, okay? It doesn't have to be huge. So you make a list. I challenge you to go back to your own desk after you watch this video and make a list of what you would like yourself to do that you're not doing right now. Okay, we'll take a look at it later. We can evaluate that in our social group on Facebook. So if you come to sign up for the Facebook social group, you'll be surprised how many pointers you can pick up from both myself and other people, your peers, that are in the groups. Okay. So the next thing you can do to improve things for yourself is pair up with a trusted person who might watch you observe while you're doing your shopping and get some feedback. So for instance, when you even go to the food market, do you just quickly live in your own world and flash down the aisle, the grocery aisle, and never even look somebody in the eye? Or do you nod and say hello if you meet somebody in the eye, or if your carriage is almost by? So even that is simple, but if your friend is watching, they can observe and they can give you some pointers on it. And they say, gee, you know, you scared that guy away. You just grumbled the minute he came by your passing by you. And so you're not even aware you're doing it because you're so preoccupied and used to being alone. Okay, pick a realistic goal when you're going to start this. So again, don't try to take off the big size and say, oh, I'm going to go to a dance tonight after you've been sitting in the chair for 30 days. Now, it doesn't quite work that way, because then when you get to the dance, you're just going to sit in the chair there. So what you need to do is build your confidence, build your own stamina, and start with a small task, and little by little, you can work it out. So I challenge you to make a list of things you want to work on for yourself. And then I challenge you to put next to it a very non-threatening activity, a very easy activity that can help you challenge that. And again, if you need feedback, come to our group, come to our Facebook group and sign up. Like I said, you can use any first name in any email. It doesn't have to be a regular one if you want to be anonymous, but if most people want to be pretty open and they're actually looking for a little assistance or a little nudge. Okay, so how to identify self-traits. How are we going to do this? Like I said, I give all these tasks, help you make out a list. The reality check from a trusted person is always a good way to go, because maybe you can't see yourself. You're too close to the problem. If we are too close to the problems, we don't usually see what they are. So the first thing we need to do is identify the problem. If you can't do it alone, by all means, get a reality check from a friend. Okay, somebody trusted. Then you raise your awareness by reflection and meditation. Now, some of you may or may not already meditate. Maybe you don't believe in this, but I truly believe in this. I truly believe in the power of meditation. So you must allow yourself to bring your own self-conscious into the act. And when you meditate, you ground yourself from any worries and fears, and you kind of empty your mind of any worry, and just allow your instincts to come up and give you the answers. And that's really what happens. Okay. Now, if you're really desperate, you don't want to do any of this yourself, you need a professional for reality check. And you can get a reality check, just come to our group, like I said. And it doesn't have to be anything complicated. If you have insurance to go to a professional mental health person, that's fine. Go ahead and do that. But social groups and peers can help you. It's a step where you don't have to show up face to face, but you can still dialogue and get positive feedback from supportive people who care. Okay. Now, the last problem I want to look at is if more than one or two people are coming to you and tell you there's a problem and you're still in denial, then you need to reevaluate that. Now, what would that be? What would be a problem? Well, maybe you've heard it 2, 3, 4, 5 times. It's like, wow, you really put that guy in his place. He'll never talk to you again. So, oops, okay, you were too aggressive. How about if somebody says, hey, well, oh my God, that's too many drinks. Look, you're slurring your words. And if you're in denial, but you're slurring your words, and 2 or 3 people come up to you and tell you that, then it's time to reevaluate for sure. And of course, we all want everybody to be in safe mode. So you have several options how you can learn to open your Johari window. One is the reality check from trusted others. And certainly self-reflection and awareness is important. You need to meditate and make your little list when you come through. And then another alternative is to see a professional and get a reality check, because that's really what psychology is. It's a reality check. How far off am I? Am I okay? Do I need a little pudge or a push? Or do I need a real push, a big push to go out to the world? So let's see if we can pull all that together. And again, by all means, join me in our social group at Facebook. And there's more references below in the description. And if you like this video, by all means, give me a thumbs up below. But I wish you good luck with your Johari window. May your self-awareness grow, and may you respond very well to others at the same time. Okay? All right. See you next time. Namaste. All right. Reflect, meditation, and namaste. Bye-bye.